time. I like it.
Yeah.
A little change of
scenery.
We
have very bright lights facing us right now to make up for the fact that we're in a basement.
And it's October, so there's like, there's just no light. My room is also just super dark, like even in the daytime.
Oh my God, 7 a.m., 7:30 clients. I'm like, how many lights can I turn on for like the Zoom session?
Just like shadowy, like, yeah, totally. We are here to talk to you about the theme for November, which is breathing, and the sub-theme, which is tempo. So we wanted to bring breath work into your strength training because I think it's something that can be overlooked, even though when you think about it, breathing is the most fundamental part of
I can't say how many times in a personal training session, in an exercise, I have to remind somebody to breathe in general, let alone have that breath be timed with the exercise.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of people don't know when to inhale, when to exhale. Should I be holding my breath at some point? Which is a thing that is not a thing that we need to worry about doing. And if you're doing the Soul Sisters workouts, you're not going to be required at any time to be lifting so heavy that you need to use the Valsalve maneuver, which is the holding of the breath, which is still a little bit controversial, I think, until you get into like incredibly high weight. So at no point should we be really holding our breath, and we want to teach you how to breathe in a way that is optimal for your movement, for your energy, and also as a way to stay present with your body. There's some pretty interesting research that shows that when we are keeping our mind on the muscle that we are trying to engage within an exercise, we actually get more muscle fiber engagement, activation within that muscle than if we are distracted, and that might just be like watching TV while you work out, right? And I'm not saying you should never do that, but it can be an interesting practice if you are used to maybe watching a movie or listening to a podcast, taking the time for a workout that maybe it's quiet, or you turn the music down and
no
you really...
podcasts.
I know. I know.
Well, and it's interesting because I just thought of this, but so I have some clients and we're about to lift something heavier, like a heavy chest press. I have this thing I tell them, I'm like, take it seriously.
Yeah.
But it's, and I think with a lot of us working out from home, our weights aren't as heavy.
Yes.
So you can kind of zone out and just go through the movements. Whereas if you are at a challenging weight and you're doing like 6 to 8 reps, you usually have to focus on your breath and what you're doing more. So I think this is going to be a great way to incorporate focus and breathing with your lighter weights.
Yeah. So how did the quiz go in the Facebook group?
Nobody answered.
Nobody answered? Guys, you're breaking Jen's heart over here. So the question, well, she asked with a few different examples of a few different exercises, was at what point during an exercise repetition do we inhale, and at what part do we exhale? And it's not so simple as just saying inhale down, exhale up, because there are some exercises where we are inverted, we're going to be face up or face down, and so we can't have it be that simplified. So we have to get a little bit technical, and I like to use the words lengthen and shorten within the muscle. So it's generally inhaling as the muscle lengthens. Using the bicep is a really easy way to do it. If you think about bicep curling, it's an inhale to lengthen the bicep, right? So I've got full extension in the elbow, and then an exhale to contract. So, or you can think about it as a lengthen, like this is on the way down, we've got that stretching, lengthening, and on the way up is the working part for the bicep.
The part where you're going against gravity.
Yeah, I like that. When you're going against gravity, that's a great way of putting it.
And then in technical terms, you may have heard of the eccentric and the concentric as well.
Yes, which like I remember when I was very newly studying for my NASM certification, and I remember like just me trying to remember that. I was like really hard. I was like, or like flexion and extension,
Yeah, that's a whole,
now I've got it. I've got it, but I try to remember that. I found it to be like that was a little confusing, so we always want to give you lots of ways to think about things, and hopefully one of those will click. So and all of our members, our Soul Sisters members who get the workouts are going to see some tempoed movements, exercises within the workouts, and we threw in this slower tempo in order to basically help you to concentrate on the breath, because it can be, like Jen mentioned, kind of going through the motions, you're distracted, you're watching TV or whatever, but when you actually count as you're going down and as you're coming up, that should hopefully help you link in with that breath a little bit more easily.
Yes, yeah. And I also think like controlling the lengthen part, not just letting you, like if it's
gravity,
just letting your arms fall. Like if there's going to be a series of numbers, and if you see 3 on the way down, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's going to slow everything down. So that'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. So we will, we're not going to get into the tempo here. People who have the Soul Sisters workout, you're going to get a guide for that, so don't worry about it. But we do want to encourage you all to do, whether you're doing our workouts or not, is to incorporate some of this slower movement into the workout. So in this case, I'm going to give you, what ones did you do? Did you do push-ups, squat?
Yeah, if you want to do a squat, we can start with that.
Okay. I've run out. Okay, so in the case of the squat, if I were to be using the breath here, I'm going to inhale on the way down and exhale as I drive through the floor up. I'm going to do my best to fill my way down with breath, right? But it's going to take a little bit of practice. So you might end up, if you breathe in really fast, like I only made it halfway down, I'm already out of breath. So it might take a few reps for you to get it, but try to inhale nice and slow. And when you exhale, you're not going to be like, right? You're going
well, it depends at the end of a set of lunges. I feel like that is what I'm doing.
Yeah, but try your best to do a little bit of constriction and to purse your lips a little bit, because what this does, and part of the reason why we do exhale as we contract, is that the exhale naturally will constrict engage the core muscles. So if we breathe out in a way that we're creating a little constriction, you can really feel that. You can all just put your hands on your tummy or on your sides. You're probably going to feel a little bit of that tension arise within your core. So inhaling down, exhaling all the way up. So you can do this a few ways. You can just do it with the breath, natural breath rhythm, or you can do it by counting. So a lot of the exercises that our members are going to see is 4 counts down and 4 counts up, or like Jen said, you guys, it's not like 4 seconds. I know like some people get really, but like it's just 4 counts. So just fill the count, right? So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just notice, there's probably, you're going to want to rush one way or the other. Just notice that and do your best to smooth it out. And you're going to find you're going to get a lot more engagement. I think you're going to get a lot more engagement. You're also just going to be able to manage your form a little bit better, manage your depth better, as opposed to like if I'm like watching the TV, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of going for it. If I'm focusing on the breath, similar to yoga, it brings us into the moment and it makes us have to be present with our bodies. You know, we're asking our bodies to do a workout. It's like, it's not easy, right? So I like to think about it like, be there for your body, be supporting your body, be present with your body while it does this difficult task for you.
Yeah, and I would say I'm going to tilt this to do some push-ups, but I think push-ups is an exercise that can be really challenging for a lot of women, and we can get loose. We can get loose in our core, we can get loose in our shoulders, loose in our head. So you're doing a push-up and it's getting hard, and you're just kind of like flopping around. But if you take some time and slow down, especially on that exhale, you're exhaling as you push, you're exhaling as you lengthen, then you're going to actually like tighten everything up. So as you go down for that push-up, and then you're going to on the way up.
Yeah.
And that just like tightens everything up.
Yeah, I like the, and Jen actually did a great demo of this just now, which is the sound that she made. She made a tss, like a snake.
Yes.
But
like you're releasing a balloon or something.
Yeah, and that will create, again, we're creating this core pressure, which protects the spine. And you can't really let ego get in the way here. One thing that happens when we slow down exercises is like, oh, like I need to drop to my knees in my push-up. The push-ups that I made demo videos for, I elevated. I tried to do like a 3 counts down, 3 counts up on my toes. I was like, I am not going to be
So
able to do this.
that's called time under tension.
Yeah.
So by slowing the movement down, you have more time under tension, and that's one way to make an exercise more challenging.
Right,
Which is
exactly.
awesome if we're stuck with the same 8 and 12 pound dumbbells that we've had for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And like, how the heck do I make this harder?
Yeah, that time under tension is going, you have to give it a few reps, right? And not ignore the eccentric. That's the first one. Because obviously it's sort of natural to come up slowly from a push-up or to come up a little more slow from a squat because it's hard. As it gets hard, we like can't move as quickly. But when gravity starts to pull you down, I like to think about it as resisting the gravity, making the way down or the lengthening portion, trying to make it as challenging as the way up.
Yes.
It's never going to be exactly the same, but thinking about it in that way of like resisting is nice.
Yeah, and like if you've ever done eccentric push-ups or pull-ups, you know that those things are freaking hard.
Yeah, they truly are. Yeah.
Oh, and a slight detour when you're trying to count reps and you're counting tempo. So say,
I like where you're going with
say
this.
you're doing a 4 count on the way down on your squats, and you're like, well, how do I count to 4 and then count 10 reps?
Right.
So I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I would go 2, 2, 3, 4. So that's just like a little trick to count your reps.
That's a really good point, Jen. Thank you for thinking of that.
You're welcome.
No, it's a really good point. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add about that. I would just be curious. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say incorporating breathing to your warm-ups.
Yes. Oh, so important.
So dynamic warm-ups, like incorporating a breath, like if maybe Justine wants to demo, like incorporating breathing to a cat and cow, which is like something that people do a lot.
And we're going to keep the same idea with our strength training that we have with our stretching, our dynamic warm-up, which is generally we want to be inhaling as we get big and expansive and lengthening, and we exhale to become smaller, to contract, to constrict, to kind of close in on ourselves, right? You're going to see examples of this with the shape of my body. So for example, with the cat-cow, again, you can do this the opposite way. I'm just going to show you the more traditional, which is with an extension of the spine, right? So I'm thinking about lengthening, opening, lengthening. I'm inhaling here, right? So that's going to naturally, as I exhale, the exhale is going to close like the front of my ribs, right? This is just a natural position I'm going to take as I flex and close, right? So you can think about that idea of the lengthen, 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 and close, contract, constrict, and make myself smaller. And so you can bring this breath, and it doesn't, if you're like, shit, am I doing it right? Just keep breathing, right? Just commit to it. If you're not sure, it's not a big deal. Another example could be if we were...
Yeah, definitely one of these guys.
Yeah, like if we were here and we were going to make this dynamic, we would inhale. Again, when I'm inhaling to get long and open, and then I'm going to exhale to come back through. I'm closing, right? You can kind of imagine that I'm closing off my shape for a counter twist. All I can really think of at the moment. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just if you do what feels right, you're like, I feel like I'm lengthening here. All right, I'm going to inhale here. Just commit to it and go with it and see if you can let your breath dictate the pacing and the rhythm and the speed of your movements. Because oftentimes what we do is we try to jam the breath into a sort of arbitrary pacing, right? We're just like, or we're not breathing with the movement at all. The breath is just kind of coming randomly. So that'll be a fun thing to do as well. Interesting thing.
And then lastly for me, I think that it's valuable if you remember to do this a couple times in a workout. You've remembered to slow down and breathe a couple times in your day.
Yeah.
And like that just has a lot of value in de-stressing you. I know a lot of people that don't like yoga and say they can't meditate. I can't meditate, I'm bad at it.
Right.
Whatever, we can get into like that.
That could be a different live.
But I like to think like if I'm meditating, regardless of like how quote unquote well I do, if my mind is wandering like crazy, if I remembered to like have 10 slow controlled breaths, I'm like 10 minutes of meditating was worth those 10 breaths. And same with yoga. If you feel like, oh, I just can't do it because my mind wanders, like focus on your breathing. And that is, even if it's just a few of those breaths you remember, it's just going to be valuable, because I find myself a lot of times I breathe in and I hold my breath for a second before I breathe out. I don't know if you've ever noticed that about yourself. And when I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, I'm like uptight right now because I'm not letting it flow. So
yeah, I mean, there is a cool article. Actually, I can post the video. It's a Girls Gone Strong article with videos about proper breath technique. And I don't want to alarm anyone, but it's like properly breathing through the day has a massive impact on our mood, on our posture, like our biomechanics. It's
all
like
the
it's a little scary
anxiety,
to be quite frank
not to
with you.
downplay people that have anxiety,
Certainly not.
but if
Yeah,
you're
certainly
breathing incorrectly all day long, like, it makes sense.
It literally, like, your diaphragm isn't going down how it's supposed to, so then your like ribs get locked in this position, and all of these other synergistic muscles come in to help you breathe. So then people literally end up like this, like their upper traps are here, they're puffed out here, and they just are. It can cause a state of like a fight or flight response state in the brain, because you're never really getting quite enough air, but you don't know it because you're sort of used to it. Very interesting. I will post. I'll remember to post to Girls Gone Strong.
Hyperventilation.
Right, that's a good way of putting it. But the article is like, I read it, I was like, I'm really going to pay more attention to my breathing, which I'm already pretty good about. But certainly especially when I'm working, like I'm on my laptop, I'm in like a weird position, I start to hunch over, or I'm just not paying attention to my body, I'm just like, ah. But usually what will happen is I'll start to feel icky. Does that happen to you when you're doing computer work and you're like, ugh?
Yeah, I don't sit for very long. You get more into like you're more focused when it comes to, I'm like, I can't do something for more than like 30 minutes. So
That's not a bad way
I'm like
to be.
a goldfish.
No, I think that's very healthy. Anyway, we will be excited to see what you guys think about this, and if you incorporate it in, let us know how it goes. If you have any questions, post it in the comments.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne. And we'll be seeing you next week.
All right, bye.